HBO show called The Shop. LeBron says he regrets naming his son LeBron Jr. Should he regret it?
Well, I can speak to this with some expertise because I am John Ireland Jr. I love it. I lost my dad 2 years ago, had a great life, lived to be 84, but Mason is Steve Mason III. I think LeBron's being a little hard on himself, but what jumped out at me watching just that one clip, LeBron never had a dad. Has anybody ever handled stardom better than LeBron James? Think about that. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16. And the way he handles himself, the way he handles his business, the way he parents, the way he stays off of the tabloid pages, I'm just forever impressed, Mace, with LeBron. And I think in this particular case, I don't want to tell him how to feel, but he's being a little hard on himself. I'm a junior and I love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to go shout out to my family in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
Actually, Stephen J. Mashonsky III.
There you go.
I work under the name Steve Mason. But I didn't have to follow in my dad's footsteps, my grandfather's footsteps. They weren't the greatest basketball player in the universe. I think, given the fact that he has his dad's name, given the fact that he's trying to follow in his dad's footsteps, given the fact that LeBron has said the crowning achievement of his life would be to play in the same game either with or against his son.
Yeah, tell me you're not rooting for that.
The bar is really, really high for a kid who is all of 14 years old.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think the bar is really high for all the reasons you said, but I think giving him the name doesn't matter. It's not like he would blend in. LeBron would still go to his games if his name was Steve James Jr. Like, we would still find him. We would still be watching his clips. We would still be analyzing him more than we do any other 13 or 14-year-old, and he'd still want to play with him. None of that changes. The name doesn't, it means a lot to LeBron, obviously, but it doesn't mean much to the amount of coverage and attention that he gets. And I would say another thing to the point you were making a little bit earlier, John, about how LeBron has handled his career so well. I just want to point out that while Kevin Durant is sending out his tweets and his feelings for free, LeBron James just got HBO to pay him to share his feelings on their network. So I think LeBron James has handled everything perfectly, and that move right there is genius. It's part of the reason why he's always so quiet. I mean, you guys know, you haven't had a chance to get a hold of him, and you are, John, you're the voice of the Lakers radio station.
Yeah, I admire the way he's handled it. He has not spoken on joining the Lakers. He might, we're hearing, Neek, on Monday he's going to open a school in Akron, and he may talk there. So we may hear from LeBron as soon as next week. But I admire the way he's handled his business. I admire the way that LeBron, and that point you just made about getting paid. Think about this. A lot of people are saying, how could LeBron join the Lakers? What's that all about? Well, Magic Johnson is a prime example about someone who has monetized his basketball success. Mace, maybe the best example of anyone ever. And now LeBron has you guys were talking about relationships in the last segment. Now LeBron has an open door to Magic Johnson. And if you look at Magic, you've done some business in the inner city. You look at the way Magic conducts himself, the way he handles his businesses, the way he's turned himself into a billionaire. I think LeBron now has a great mentor in business that he can follow, and that had to be part of the equation why he came to LA.
Absolutely. And by the way, the Shop, the new series, produced by LeBron James. I mean, he is very, very much involved in what he views as his next chapter, which is going to be in production. He's going to make
He's already got 2 or 3 shows that have been on the air.
Yeah, Survivor's Remorse was a really good show. That was his show. But I want to return to just what he said at the beginning of this is he's the one that regrets giving his son that name.
Right.
It is a challenge, and Dominique, you're completely correct. I mean, all eyes will be on LeBron James Jr., Bronnie, no matter what. But having that name, I think, does give him a little extra burden.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I feel like it may just be a straw on top of what he's carrying. It's not going to make it any that much more noticeable. And one of the interesting things was I thought I saw Odell Beckham Jr. there too, and he's a junior. I'm interested to see at least that episode just to see how he reacts to being a junior and how he reacts to that, because I'm not sure that while LeBron, they showed the clip of what LeBron says, I'm not sure that he will end that conversation by feeling the same way once he has that conversation with those guys. And to your point about his second career, I think he has doing voices in an animated movie coming up. Like LeBron James is incredible, and I appreciate that he is finding other ways to make money since the NBA has grossly underpaid him for the last 15 years.
And I also think he's got to get a little credit for the fact that he hasn't turned into a gigantic jerk. I mean, he's had the world at his finger. He's almost the opposite. He's had the world at his fingertips. I think Nike handed him like $100 million when he was 19, and he would have every reason to. I mean, I know Deion Sanders has matured as he's gotten older, but I remember an interview with Deion when he said to a reporter, "Get out of here! I'm going to go count my money." You never see that from LeBron. Cass, you deal with him a lot. I deal with him a lot.
Yeah.
The way he handles himself for being arguably one of the 10 most famous people on the planet is admirable. It's commendable because he's always, for lack of a better term, he's always approachable. Mm-hmm. He's always polite. I think the way, and
he's always present.
Right.
I will say, whenever
and
you
he
do
seems
an
like a
interview with
great
him,
dad.
Yeah.
Him and Dwayne Wade are good friends. Both those guys seem to love being dads. A friend of mine texted me last night that Dwayne's kids are playing in a tournament in Las Vegas, and LeBron and his kids, as usual, without telling anybody, just showed up at the gym last night to watch Zaire Wade play. And so I just love the fact that a guy, he said it off the top, a guy who had no father is apparently, for all appearances, I mean, I don't know firsthand, but it just seems like is a really involved, cool dad, and is not afraid to talk about that and promote that.
And he mentioned that was a big reason why he wanted to make the move to LA, is to be more available, to be around his family, and to go to Bronnie and Bryce's games.